Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Sadashivasamarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayanam Padmabhavam Vasishtam Shaktim cha Tatpatra Parasharam cha Vyasam Shukam Gaudapadam Mahantam Govinda Yogindra Matasya Sishyam Shri Shankaracharya Mata Padma Padam cha Hastamalakam cha Shishyam Tam Todakam Vartikakara Manyan Asmad Gurun Santatamanatosmi Vismriti Purananam Alayam Karunalayam Namami Bhagavat Padam Shankaram Loka Shankaram Shankaram Shankaracharyam Kesavam Badarayanam Sutrabhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantau Punah Punah Samasta Jana Kalyani Niratam Karunamayam Namami Chinmayam Devam Sadgurum Brahma Vidmaram Namah Shri Shankarananda Guru Padam Pujanmani Savila Samaha Moha Graha Grasaita Karmani. In the Paroksha iti Dvida Vidya. Knowledge is of two kinds. Dveda Vicharaja Vidya. Vicharena Jata. By Vichara, not Patanena, not by mere study, Shravanena va. By merely listening, it's not what is spoken here. Vicharaja Vidya. Based upon contemplation, that is of two kinds, Paroksha and Aparoksha iti. We have seen that Vidya also spoken in Mundokopanishad as Paravidya, Aparavidya. Paravidya is Atma Vidya and Apara is Vishaya Vidya. Vishaya includes everything other than Atman. Anatma Vidya, Aparavidya, Paravidya, Atma Vidya. In the nature of Aparavidya also, there are Paroksha and Aparoksha. In the nature of the worldly knowledge also, there is Paroksha and Aparoksha. Paroksha means Para Akshena Jayate. Para Akshena Jata Vidya Paroksha Vidya iti uchate. Parakshena means by someone else, something else. Aparena jata vidya aparoksha vidya iti. Like for example, I have never been to Disneyland. No, I've been, but I let us say. And if somebody goes to Disneyland and then comes and tells me about it, that is called aparoksha vidya. Is it? Paroksha vidya. Para aksha. I have not seen myself that that rides and other things, but I have been seen or I've been told, I read a report or whatever. It is not my own experience. Therefore, it is paroksha vidya. Even though it is apara. Apara means not of the Atman, it is about the world. When I go myself and then go and pay $150 and go there and experience the entire experience of Disneyland, then it becomes aparoksha, aparavidya. Even though it's a worldly knowledge, it is apara aksha, not from anybody else, my own experience. So in the Vishaya Jnana also there is paroksha and aparoksha. But here the context is Atma Vidyayam. In the context of self-knowledge also, there is paroksha and aparoksha. Paroksha Jnanam Shravana Jnanam. When you hear from somebody or read in a book, that is paroksha jnanam or paroksha vidya. So here that is why I say, Tatra aparoksha vidya aptau. So paroksha vidya, which is based upon your listening to someone or reading something or hearing from the Mahatmas or through YouTube nowadays, audio, that is still a paroksha vidya only. But when tatra there, tatra means vichara samaye, vicharena. By that vichara, aparoksha vidya aptau. When the direct knowledge takes place, then what happens? Ayam vicharaha samapyate. Then only vichara will end. Vichara is, one meaning is contemplation, another is search. Vivitam charati vichara. Looking for, seeking. So what you are seeking will end only when you have aparoksha vidya. So therefore it is said that this vichara should continue until one gets aparoksha jnana. You should not ask, when does contemplation end? Contemplation ends only when the direct knowledge takes place. Until then, vichara should not be stopped. Because Shravana Janita Jnanam, that knowledge that is gained out of Shravana, listening, amananat nashyati. Amananat. Without manana, it will become destroyed. Kyun? Because our swabhavika pravritti, our natural, natural inclinations, desires, vasanas, etc., will overpower it. Jnanena tat ajnanena, jnanena tat ajnanam esham nashitam. One who has completed the process of vichara, for him, the jnana is the one which destroys the ajnana. Otherwise, Ajnanam also can cover jnana. When does it happen? Vicharahina nareshu. In the people who have not done any vichara. Vicharahina nareshu vidya nashyati eva. Kim karanat? What is the reason? Avicharat. So, merely by listening, it would not be complete. It has to be done. The vichara has to be done. Until when? Aparoksha jnana paryantam. So therefore, aparoksha vidya aptau, when the obtainment of the direct knowledge takes place, vicharaha samapyate. The vichara comes to an end. All right. Now we have seen that.
Sorry, pratyaksha. So, like example of the Disneyland, like when you go and you experience, so that is that a paroksha or a pratyaksha?
So, aparoksha is not equal to pratyaksha. Because there is a means to which through which you are seeing. Therefore, it is pratyaksha. Because akshayana jayate. Whereas aparoksha is a peculiar word where it is not through any particular senses or the mind. It is media-less experience. That's why it is distinguished from pratyaksha. Sometimes it is used in the place of that, but most of the time it is not. In chapter 9 of Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan says, Pratyaksha-avagamam dharmyam susukam kartum avyayam. He uses the word Pratyaksha-avagamam. He doesn't use the word aparoksha there. So aparoksha means with no media. We'll see that when it comes to the content. So now, verse number 16. What is that which you call it as aparoksha in the context of Atmajnana? And what do you call it as paroksha in the context of Atmajnana? Because earlier verse, what it said? Dveda vicharaja vidya paroksha aparoksha iti. Aparoksha vidya ka paroksha vidya ka. What is that? So in that context, he's saying, Asti brahmedi chetveda paroksha jnanameva tat aham brahmeti chetveda sakshatkarasya uchyate. Asti brahmedi chetveda paroksha jnanameva tat aham brahmedi chetveda sakshatkarasya uchyate. So now, first one is paroksha jnanam eva tat. That paroksha jnanam eva. That is what is called paroksha jnanam. So, atma jnan kaisa paroksha jnan hoga? How is that atma jnan, being very nature of this self-knowledge, how does it become paroksha? If it is outside me, then it can be considered as an external thing. But it is my own self. How can that be considered or known to be paroksha jnanam? It is said, therefore, asti brahmeti chetveda. Asti brahma. So because first of all, we should have the understanding that there is Brahman. Hey. This asti brahma iti chet veda chet, if one knows Brahma asti, there is Brahman, then how does that happen? Shravanat. So Shravajanita Jnanam, Paroksha Jnanam. Because we are not even aware of the existence of Brahman until we are told that there is Brahman. It is like in the case of a person who had thought he had lost the 10th man. 10th man is lost. So he's searching, he would not find it. So then a person comes once, assures him, there is a 10th man. He did not reveal the second one. That is you. So first of all, the Shraddha happens. Asti. So, Shraddhaya janitam jnanam paroksha jnanam. ये पहला श्रद्धा होना चाहिए. What is Shraddha? Shastreshu Guruvakyeshu Satya Buddhi Avadarana Shraddha. Shastreshu, what is said in the Shastra? Guruvakyeshu, in the statement of the Guru. Satya Buddhi, Astitva Buddhi, iti, that is called Shraddha. So the teacher, when he says, or the Guru, when he says, it is, then when the student is suffering of all this samsara dukkha and this durvara samsara davagni taptam dodhu yamanam duradushtavadaihi ityadi, when he comes to the teacher and says that I am suffering the samsara, koi upay de do, anyat upayam na janami, I do not know any other method of overcoming that. So then the student is in a despair condition. The first thing the Guru says, Upayam asti. Hey, there is a way out. There is a way out of this suffering. So in the same way here, one who is able to understand from the words of the scriptures and the teacher that there is something called Brahman. That is why Asti Tyeva Upalabdhavyaha in Katopanishad. First to start with Astitvam. Hey. So in the 10th man's case also, when he is there all crying that the one is lost because after crossing the ocean, or the river, and then they didn't find the 10th man, which actually has happened because one does not count oneself, as you know that story. So the wise man who comes there, he said, there is a 10th man. Don't worry. First of all, ma bhaishta. Don't be afraid. There is 10th man. Then the question is, who or where? How? Who is the 10th man? Tat Tvam Asi. You are that. So even that statement, when it is not taken seriously, it will still remain a paroksha jnana. When does it become aparoksham? Aham brahmedi chetveda. I am that Brahman. Then it becomes aparoksham. Sakshatkara sauchate. Sakshatkara is aparoksha jnana. So therefore, when do I understand dashamosmi iti jnanam? Dashama asti is paroksha jnanam. Dashamosmi is aparoksha jnana. Tvamasi, tat tvamasi, paroksha jnana. Ahamasmi, aparoksha jnana. Brahma asti, paroksha jnana. Brahma asmi, aparoksha jnana. Asti se asmi. As it is, as me. English में कहना है तो अंग्रेजी में कहना है as me. Brahman as me. Brahma as me. So that is what is called aparoksha jnana. So the Shraddha is given very important point here. So with this Shraddha, that's what we are covering in the 17th chapter also. Shraddha, Trivida Shraddha. Threefold faith. What is threefold faith? Satvika, Rajasika and Tamasika faith. Faith everybody has got, but whether it is sattvic, rajasic or tamasic is a question. So here it is said that asti brahmeti chet veda paroksha jnanameva tat aham brahmeti chet veda sakshatkarasa uchyate. So this aham brahmasmi iti kaha veda vicharavan veda na acharyavan. Acharyavan abhi veda. A person who has a teacher also will know, but acharyavan paroksha jnanam veda, vicharavan aparoksha jnanam veda. So one who does the vichara alone will come to have the direct experience of aham brahmasmi. So that is the reason why it is said that vichara janya vidya paroksha aparokshatva vedena dvaita ityuktam tayoho upayoho swarupam kramena darshayati. Kramena, in the succession, it is shown as what is called paroksha jnanam, what is called aparoksha jnanam. Evam vidatma sakshatkara asadharana karanam atma tattva vivechanam pradijanite. Atma tattva vicharanam, vivechanam. So how this contemplation has to take place, and through the contemplation, how this paroksha jnana becomes aparoksha jnanam. So even as paroksha jnana takes place, why doesn't translate into aparoksha jnanam? Why vichara does not take place? That is because manashuddhi is not there. Chitta shuddhi is not there. If we anadhikarina shrutena jnanam na aparoksham bhavati. Anadhikarina shrutam jnanam. One who is not an adhikari, one who is not qualified sufficiently, even as he listens, that doesn't translate into aparoksha jnana, because vichar karne ke liye shuddha man hona chahiye. What is shuddha mana? Mana prasada saumyatvam, maunam atma vinigraha, bhava samshuddhirityetat, manasam tapa uchyate. In 17th chapter is said, what? Prasada mana, mind has become placid, quiet, tranquil, and in vyavahara samaye maya rahityam. There is no kind of wickedness, crookedness. So the mind that has become quiet because of not forced quiet, inner quietude out of purity, such a mind, when it is even at the time of listening itself, it is said, it will go into paroksha jnana. When the mind is absolutely pure, even vichara is not even necessary. Vichara takes place along with the teacher itself. As the teaching goes on, the vichara takes place, and there itself one will get it. Otherwise, sun diya, to abhi vichar karna hai. Postponement. So now you see, continuing, tat sakshatkara siddhyartham atma tattvam vivichyate yenayam sarva samsarat sadya eva vimuchyate. Tat sakshatkara siddhyartham atma tattvam vivichyate yenayam sarva samsara sadya eva vimuchyate. Tat siddhyartham, tat sakshatkara siddhyartham, siddhi artham, for the sake of accomplishment, obtaining it, to obtain. What sakshatkara siddhyartham, aparoksha jnana siddhyartham, aham brahmasmi iti jnana siddhyartham. For the sake of realizing the truth, knowing it as one's own self, as I am the Brahman. For that purpose, Atma Tattvam Vivichyate. Atma Tattvam Vivichyate. Vivichyate means the process of discrimination is being considered or spoken. We now consider Vivichyate. We now consider Atma Tattvam. What is that nature or the essence of the self? For what? Sakshatkarartham. For the sake of direct experience. So, vichar karne samay, while vichar, when you are doing the contemplation on what? How? First of all, we must understand the nature of the self. See, when you're looking for something, you should know what you're looking for. I'm searching. What? I don't know. You are not knowing what you are searching for, then how will you search? Some people are research. What are researching? I am thinking about it. What are you researching? You should know what you are researching first. So here we are going to consider Vivichate being considered what? Atma Tattvam. Yena ayam sarva samsarat sadhya eva mimichate. Yena vicharena. By this contemplation, ayam samsarat, this from this samsarat, from this transmigratory limited existence, sadhya eva, at once, not dirghakal, not very long longevity or the extension or the delay is only in the absence of vichar or absence of purity of mind. Why it is a sadhya eva? At once. It depends upon the intensity of vichar. The search, how intense it is, based upon that alone the result. And what is the result? Samsarat vimuchyate. See, in the passive tense and sentence it is given. Ayam purushaha samsarat vimuchyate. This person who is the vicharavan, such a person is released, not he is not doing anything. Jnanena vimuchyate. If I say, I need to do something and I will get out of this samsara. No. You do vichar. That will work on this. When you are eating food, hunger goes away. Eating food is what you do. Hunger going is because of something else. Because you ate and then the eating removes the hunger. That the food removes the hunger. You are doing the act of eating. Right? So in the same way, vichara leads to a state of release from the samsara. Out that knowledge takes you out of that, and it has to work, and it is not that because of your doing. Your doing is only vichar, and the result of is happening because of the knowledge that comes out of that vichar. That's why it is in the passive sentence. Vimuchyate. Sarva samsarat sadhya eva vimuchyate is being released. Gets liberated. So from what? Samsarat. From the ajnanat, ajnana samuhat, ajnana karyat. So because of all the effects of ajnanam, that is constantly is keeping us very tightly held in samsara. Yena sakshatkarena puman sadhya eva vimuchyate sat sakshatkara siddhyartam iti purvena anvaya. So by the connection with because of earlier statement, sakshatkara heva aham brahmeti iti sakshatkara. That sakshatkara which is stated above before, aham brahmeti anubhavat jnanat samsara, because of which vimuchyate. Chidatmanaha paramartikam ekatvam nischetum vyavahara dashayam pradiyamanam chaitanyam edam upadishati uddishati. Now, this consciousness which is being the subject matter here, the word chaitanya is specifically used because sadvastu chaitanya vastu. Sadvastu means existence. Chaitanya vastu means that which brings the awareness. Objects enjoy satvastu, but only a living being can understand or know consciousness. In general, when we say consciousness, which does not include sat, but sometimes we use the word merely consciousness. Consciousness is spread everywhere. No, it is not. Self is spread everywhere, in which an aspect of it is sat, and another aspect is chit. Here, the subject matter here is, what is this chaitanya? Because about sat and asat we have seen in the 5 chapters before. All the previous chapters are about sat. Now it is about chaitanya. Awareness. So chaitanya is, as he says here, chidatmanaha paramartikam ekatvam. In reality, there is only one consciousness, one chaitanya only. Ekameva chaitanya. So here, vyavahara dashayam, in the context of vyavahara, transactional world where you and I seem to be seeing variety, we don't see the oneness of this chaitanya, we always see the variety, because I myself consider my consciousness different from yours. Obviously, that is what is called vyavahara, transactional world in which we only see the differences constantly. Or it is even almost impossible or imperceptible for us to see the one consciousness in everything, even though that is a goal. Vyavahara dashayam pratiyamanam chaitanya bedam uddishati. The differences in the chaitanya has to be understood. And then from the multiplicity or plurality of consciousness, we slowly take to the oneness. So now from here onwards, what is the nature of consciousness which is apparently seen as divided many? How to understand that and how to bring to the unity of it. So until this point, the use of the Chitrapata has been explained. Now he is going to take up another Drishtanta, another kind of an example. Drishtanta means example. Darshana Drishtanta. Because if you see only it is an example. If you don't see that, then there is no example. So example has to be something which you can be familiar with. So if I talk about, if the text or the guru or the teacher or the scripture talks about an example which one has never seen, then that cannot be an example. It has to be something which we all know, we can easily relate to. So now we have to imagine certain things, no doubt, but it is not difficult. One has to pay attention only in this. How the differences in the Chaitanya is going to be explained. Now, starting here. Kutasto Brahma Jiveshau Ityevam Chichaturvidha Gatakasha Mahakashau Jalakasha Brakeyata Utasto Brahma Jivesho Ityevam Chichadurvida Gadakasha Mahakasho Jalakasha Brakeyatha. Chit Chadurvida. Consciousness is of four types. Oh my. Why now you have four types of consciousness? Now, four types of consciousness to be understood for us to know how they appear to be four. Chadurvida, Chit. Chit is Chadurvida. And what are the Chadurvida, Chit? Now we'll see. First to take the second line and then we'll go to the first one. The example that is given is Akash. Space. Space of consciousness. Chida Akasha. To start with, first one is Gata Akash. Pot is there. Imagine the pot. And inside the pot, certain space is occupied. Defined by the structure and the walls of the pot. So, Gate Stita Akashaha, Gata Akashaha. What is there as a space inside the pot is what is known as Gata Akash. Even though the space can never be limited, yet there is an apparent conditioning or apparent limitation. Limitation in Sanskrit known as avacheda. Gada avachinna akasha, gata akasha. Gatena avachinna akasha, gata akasha. Limited by the or conditioned by the pot is what is known as pot space. So whatever is within the pot is known as pot space. Clear? That is first one. That is called Gata Akash. Second one is Maha Akash. Outside the pot, which remains as unlimited, unconditioned. Maha. Maha means there is no Adi or Anta, beginning or an end. So Akash mein Adi nahi hai or Ant bhi nahi. Where does the space start? You cannot say. Space starts from here. Beyond that, there is no space. Maha Akasha means Sarvagata Akash. Sarvavyapita Akash. All spread, all over. So we can really think about, take a pot and then look at inside, there is Akash. That's called Gata Akash. Outside the pot, no limit. It's called Maha Akash. Okay, very good. Two Akashas are done. Now, see, Madhyaranya Maharaj, he's an independent thinker. He brings in examples which others would not even think about it. Because the subject matter being subtle, the example also must be as close as possible to what is need to be conveyed. It has to be very closely following what needs to be conveyed. Because the parallel is what makes the example. Udaharanam. Udaharanam. The example has to lift up itself to that point. Aharanam, to bring to the point of what is to be explained. So therefore here, the third one is what is known as Jala Akash. Pay attention, this is very important. Jala Akash. What is Jala Akasha? In the pot, there is space, which is known as Gata Akash. In that pot where there is space, you pour water. So the pot space is now giving room for water. Right? In the water, there is a reflection of space. Think. That is called Jala Akash. Jale Pradibimbita Akash. Gate Avachinna Akasha Gatakasha. And then Gatastita Jale Pradibimbita Akasha Jala Akash. That which is reflected in the water, which is given room by the space in the pot. So it's pot space. In the space of the pot, there is water, and in the water, there is a reflection of space. This example is very important. Slowly you go, then only you will understand. Okay. So, first one is Jada Akasha, then Gada Akasha, then Maha Akasha, then Jala Akasha. The third one is Abrakha. Ka means space. Abra means mega. Ab Rati iti Abra. Rati brings. Ab water. So Abra means water laden, cloud. Cloud is not just a regular cloud, but that which is potentially going to give rain. It's called Mega, which is called rainy cloud. Rainy cloud. The cloud that contains water. Water particles. Water particles are also there. Those water particles, in those water particles, in the space, there are clouds. In the cloud, there are, what is a cloud? After all, when you say rainy cloud, it has dense water particles waiting to be released. So in the dense water particles, there is space. Reflection. In the dense water particles, there is reflection of space. Because wherever there is water, there will be reflection. Yatra yatra jalam asti, tatra tatra akasha pradibimbam api asti. So, Gata Akasha, Maha Akasha, Jala Akasha, Mega Akasha. It's called Abraka. So, Gata Akasha, Maha Akasha, Jala Akasha, Brake, Yata, just as Tata in the same way. Now, this Gata Akasha, Gate Avachinna Akasha. That which is the space limited by the pot. Obviously, pot cannot limit the space, but as it is perceived, as it is seen, the space as though limited by the pot is called Kutastha. Kutastha. Kutastha is none other than Atma Chaitanyam, consciousness. The consciousness which apparently seemed to be conditioned within us, seemed to be conditioned, not conditioned, seemed to be conditioned, just as the space seemed to be conditioned by the pot, but not in real nature. So Kutastha is Chaitanyam. Kutastha Chaitanyam. Which is Gade Avachinna Akashavat, Dehe avachinna chaitanyam, Shariratraya, Panchakoshena avachinna chaitanyam, Shariratrayena avachinna chaitanyam, Upadaihi avachinna chaitanyam, Upadina, Upadi is what? By the so-called adjuncts that were Mana, Buddhya, Angara, Chitta, Panchakosaihi, Sharitrayena, Trivida Shariraihi avachinna. So it's all eva, as though. So the space appears to have been conditioned by the part, which is not really. In the same way, consciousness apparently seemed to be conditioned by, limited by the 5 koshas or 3 bodies or the upadis. That is what is called kutastha. Kuta ivastha titaha. So the example that is given is like that of a goldsmith, for example. When he takes a gold after heating up properly and then wanting to make a shape, or not even gold, iron, when he takes the iron and puts it on an anvil and then he hits it to make it into a particular shape. When he hits it, no doubt that iron gets the shape and nothing happens to the anvil. The anvil also goes, but then there's no point in the anvil. It is like, sometimes when they want to cut the wood, they put a stronger wood below, and on the top of it, they put the other wood and then cut it. The below one cannot be cut. Or they may put a stone also sometimes, a flat stone. So that consciousness is that which is unchanging, undisturbed, unconditioned, apparently seem to be conditioned within ourselves. That is what is called Kutastha Chaitanyam. Then, just like the Akasha, which is outside the part which is all-pervading presence, conscious, the space, that is called Brahma. The consciousness, which unconditioned by anything, which is no different from, really speaking, the one which is inside the part. But because of our attention being on the part, therefore we have an adjective to that space as part space. The partness does not belong to the space at all. The partness, when you say part space, good person, the goodness belongs to the person. Right? Part space, the partness does not belong to the space. So you cannot say part space, it is space having partness. There is no partness in the space. As like goodness is there in the person, but not the partness is not there in the space. Though we say that part space, it should be understood what that means. So Mahakasha is that which is unlimited by anything. Therefore, that is similar to Brahman, which is unbridled, unconditioned consciousness without any limitation. Brahman. Very good. Kutastha is understood and Mahakasha equal to the Brahman. That is also understood. Okay. Who is Jiva?
Belongs to Jalakasha and Megakasha. You're talking about the water reflection, space reflection in the water. So why would there be a necessity to differentiate between the reflection of space in water in the pot versus reflection of space in water at rainy clouds?
I'll come to that. It will be explained. Jiva. The Jiva is, whom he call it as Jiva, the limited individual here, is equal to that of, again, go back to the example. The part which has the space, and in the space there is water, and in the water there is a reflection. Right? So the reflection of space in the water is conditioned by two factors. Think. And the water is conditioned by the pot. Water is conditioned by the pot, and the reflection of the space inside the water is conditioned by the water. In the same way, the jiva is having twofold conditioning. The conditioned consciousness, when it is said, it is conditioned by what it is reflected by. It is reflected by buddhi. And buddhi is conditioned by avidya. We'll come to that point a little later. See, now you see, inside the water, you see the space. In the space, you see what the nakshatra and the clouds, etc. You mean to say that stars and the sun and the clouds, etc. are inside the pot? Are they? Can you think that, oh, inside the pot there's a cloud also, there is sun also, there is a moon also, there are stars also, there are planets also? It's not. Really, it's not. But it appears to be there. So in the same way, the jiva has the notion of I-ness, my-ness. Let us take another example. Is it not true when a person is dreaming? He can dream anything. As though he is flying, or as though he is traveling in such a speed, as though he is going on a high-speed car, anything you want. And that is what the jiva is. Actually, he is imagining himself to be so many things which are actually not there at all. So just like the space reflected in the water, which is conditioned by the space in the pot, so too the Chidabhasa in this context, which is apparently conditioned by the buddhi of that individual, which is conditioned by avidya. Here the pot stands for the avidya krita trivida sharirani, avidya krita panchakoshaha. With the panchakoshas, that is conditioned by that is the buddhi, meaning identified with those panchakoshas. In that buddhi, there is a reflection of consciousness. That is the jiva there. Chidabhas. All right. We'll explain more in the further verses. We'll speak about that. Then, jiva, that is, then Ishvaraha. Who's this Ishvaraha? Ishvara is that which is Mega Akash. Mega Akash. Again, the Mega Akasha is that cloud which has water particles. In the water particles, there is a reflection of space. Now you look at it. This cloud, what we think of a cloud is not a what you call it is a chota mota things that is going on. Sometimes when you see, you don't see the cloud, the whole spread is black or dark. So usually the rainy clouds are not tiny little things moving about. When you go in the flight only, you will see that. When you so you cannot identify a particular cloud who is doing this. The entire spread of clouds, in all this, the entire spread of clouds has got so many water particles, and those water particles in total is reflecting the space. So therefore, answering your question, it is not limited to a limited space within the water part, and within the part there is a limited water. In the limited water, there is a reflection of space versus the whole spread of the clouds, and it's not one cloud, clouds, and in those clouds, varieties of water particles, and every water particle is reflecting the space. That is Ishvara. So, iti evam chaturvida. Now, each one will be explained. Now, when it comes to the Kutastha and Jiva, Kutastha and Brahman, which is in the example, it is Gata Akasha and Maha Akasha. It's straightforward. You can easily imagine that. That is good. Part space, which is limited inside the part, and outer space, which is unlimited. So too, consciousness, limited consciousness is what is said to be the Kutastha, which is actual by nature is unlimited only, which is like that of the space limited by the part, and unlimited by nature, which undergoes no change. That is like the Maha Akasha is the Brahman. So, in the next verse, he will not talk about Kutastha or Brahman. He will only talk about Jala Akasha, which is referring to Jiva, and Mega Akasha, which refers to Ishvara. So, we'll see that in the next class now. Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kasyat Dukkha Bhat Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namah.